So this is my 1.6 Peugeot 307 2007 1.6 petrol version. TO5 JP4 is the engine, and it has an automatic AL4 gearbox. That's the same as the DP0 in Citroens, Peugeots, Renaults and so on. And recently it broke down the gearbox. I mean, the car has 70,000 miles. I mean, I haven't driven it harshly, motorway, like a normal driving, city driving. My wife drives it. But it broke down. I was on a cold, the temperature outside was roughly about 14 degrees centigrade. I was joining an A road, a 50-mile-an-hour road. I was traveling about 4 miles an hour, and I pressed the gas pedal a little bit. Well, you can see in this video, I'm just joining the A road, press the gas pedal a little bit, and then a huge thump. You can hear it here. And what happened was, I thought the rear wheels fell off. I mean, it was that disturbing. There was an error on the display, it says gearbox fault, and I thought, I really looked in the rear mirror and I thought, well, the whole car just fell apart. So I was going, it went into a limp mode and locked in third gear, and it was kind of underpowered, the car. I took off the first slip road, went back home, switched off the car. I didn't know what's going on here. I thought the whole thing broke down. And then 15 minutes later, I started it up. Everything was fine, no error whatsoever. I parked it in my garage and started to investigate what the problem was. So I plugged in my Gearbox PP2000, Peugeot Planet 2000 for Peugeot, or Lexia for Citroen, same thing. And there was a fault, permanent fault, pressure regulation, guide versus measured oil pressure, or calculated oil pressure versus measured oil pressure from the oil sensor. Error, so it was supposed to be 9 bars, but the car was 2 bar, 2 atmospheres, or 2 bar pressure. So it just dropped an error, and it's a P0006 or 06 fault, or P06 fault. Depends on how you view it. Going through all sorts of forums, also YouTube videos and so on, this is likely to be the 2 solenoid valves within the gearbox, and it's down in there. Could be, of course, other problems. Could be other valves, could be bands and things. I mean, the oil was never changed in my car. 70,000 miles since 2007. The oil was never changed. It's supposed to be sealed for life, but that's crap. It's never sealed for life. I mean, for so long, I should have changed it, but the procedure is not too easy to do, so I never changed it. So this is a series of 10 videos of dismantling everything, gaining access to the gearbox, opening the gear, draining the oil, opening the gearbox, taking out the valve block, replacing the solenoid valves, putting it back in, getting everything together, putting everything back together, filling up with oil, the correct procedure, and then leveling the oil with draining it according to the level, and then resetting the oil wear counter. There is an oil wear counter. So in most of these videos I use the Peugeot Planet 2000 or Gearbox or Lexia for Citroen, but you don't need to do that. You can just do a temperature measurement with one of these laser temperature probes, whatever one can call it. And you can just take a temperature at the gearbox, 60 plus 8 or minus 2, so from 58 to 68 degrees, you can do that. There is no need to plug in any software, but the problem is that this oil wear counter, it has its units, and the maximum units is 32,958. It's not 1 unit per mile. It depends on how harsh the conditions are, stop and go and so on. It's a little bit more units added. My car was 1,849 units, and it's 70,000 miles driven, well, pretty much city and motorway and so on. So we don't really need to do that, but it's good to reset this oil wear counter, because the computer then knows, oh, there is a new oil, so adjust the parameters of the gearbox. So my car always had harsh gearbox changes from first to second, second to third, on cold when it was cold. Reverse, when you set it, it's just like a big hit to the car. You can feel how the car moves and shakes. After changing the oil, after changing the solenoid valves, I mean, it's the same thing. The temperature is a little bit warm now when I'm filming. Maybe it's a little bit smoother, but yeah, well, it's not. I don't think it has changed much in that. Since I'm replacing with all these videos and series, since I replaced the solenoid valves, no problems whatsoever. I drove it for quite a bit. City driving, motorway driving and so on, no problems whatsoever. It hasn't recurred again. Now, I'm certain that I'll get a lot of flack on YouTube in the comments and so on, because I took the valve body and I didn't dismantle everything inside and clean it, everything. I didn't do that, and I'm certain I'll get a lot of comments, oh, everything's wrong what you did. So I really thought about it. There are other YouTube videos, if you want to do it, watch them and do it. The two magnets on the cover of the gearbox, if these really have a lot of metal particles, then cleaning, because there is a small filter inside between these metal plates on the block, on the valve block, you want to clean it. So mine was really clean. They all was really clean. There were no bits and pieces. There was only a little bit of sweat. So I decided against dismantling the whole valve block and cleaning out inside everything. I mean, it's a pros and cons, and I can get some comments that will say, oh, you should have cleaned everything. You should have cleaned the filter. This filter doesn't really block anything. It blocks some really big pieces. It will never block a little bit of a dust or something like that. It's not that fine filter. Second of all, these metal parts are very fine tolerance. You have to have the torque. Well, I have the torque, but I know how to torque it and do it. But yeah, you're disrupting everything. Then cleaning it, yeah, you need to clean it a lot better than just spray brake cleaner fluid. But you could do if you want to. Nobody's stopping you. So what do you really need to do it? So you need one of these temperature probes type things in order to get the oil at the correct temperature. One of these square 8mm for opening the filler, the top of the gearbox and the bottom. And of course you need one of these 8mm hex or hex 8 keys to open the insert. I have a video that shows them exactly on what you need to do, and the rubber, the washers, the copper washer on the top or the rubber at the bottom. But these are the two things, and a few sockets here and there for bolts, so it's not really that much. I have a whole video on the leaf spring, the procedure of how to do it. I mean, I didn't invent it myself. I saw it in the Citroen C3 forum, and it was really good with this oversized washer. That, for me, that's the correct procedure to do it without actual tool from Peugeot or Citroen, because they have a specific tool and I can't find it anywhere. Well, but that's it. I mean, I've paid a lot of attention. I've done a lot of filming in PP2000, the guide pressure versus the oil pressure when changing gears at the different gears. So the guide pressure is calculated pressure inside of the gearbox. The oil pressure is measured from the oil sensor. So if there is a huge difference, it will go into limp mode and give you an error, fault message. Now, there are different patterns in the gearbox. When it's really cold, there's this bridge pattern, economy control, emissions control pattern, and so on. So the gearbox has to be, I was looking at to see if there are any differences, what's the problem. I mean, I could have driven the car with my laptop and recorded and made a graph on the guide versus the measured oil pressure. Well, I didn't do, I probably should have. But yeah, take it with a pinch of salt, these the changes from reverse, how much is the guide pressure and how much is the guide pressure or calculated pressure versus the oil pressure. On drive, after changing the solenoid valves and the oil, it was roughly within 0.2 bars of pressure difference, 0.3 or something. So it really isn't anything. I mean, there could be some other stuff like other solenoids that have broken on the gearbox or something else, bands and so on. But touch wood, I haven't had any problems since. It is really quite good to drive now. So next thing, drain the oil, dismantle components, and enjoy all the videos. Hope they help you. If you have any comments, let me know in the comment section down below. So first of all, I'll spray a little bit of a brake cleaning fluid on the plug. Well, not that any dirt can go in, but just in keeping up with the overall cleanliness of the procedure. Some tissue. Next is to start the gearbox, and I have a Windows XP here. I've plugged in my connection to the OBD2 port, haven't yet switched on the car. I don't want any updates, I'll click no to that. Switch on the ignition just to see. Click on Peugeot 307. I recognize the VIN number this time, so it needs to be on. Click OK. PPS for Peugeot Planet 2000. Peugeot Planet 2000. Click again. It's already started. So I've clicked it twice. ECU configuration services, test by ECU, then engine gearbox, and then gearbox ECU, and parameter measuring, standard parameter measuring, main variables, and here it will show the engine speed, gearbox measured. What I'm interested in is actually these two things, the oil temperature, that what actually I'm interested when it reaches 60 degrees. So well, then start the vehicle actually and warm it up. Currently 13 degrees, waiting till it reaches 60, probably be about half an hour, 20-30 minutes probably until this reaches 13 degrees. I mean, you could also look at the guide pressure when it's currently in park and it's 2.7. It measures quite well. So if I go to reverse, kind of tracks, it's tracking very well. So if I go to reverse, so it's 5 the guide, and this is 4.3. It's like fluctuating quite substantially actually. 5.1 to, well, quite a bit. It's not too bad, but 4.8 even. So if I go to neutral, it's actually quite good. You have to keep your foot on the brake, you don't want your car lurching. That's the neutral, and then drive. It's 3 the guide pressure, but this is, well, 5 the guide pressure, but this is 520, and goes, sometimes goes quite low. Oh, I've looked 4.65, 4.45. That's like a half a bar difference. Go to park. It's always quite well. So 14 degrees. So we wait till this reaches operating temperature. I'll come back when this is about 50 degrees to check out the guide pressure and the oil pressure again. It's currently in P in park, and it's the guide pressure is 2.7 bars, the oil pressure is 2.7, 2.6, it's tracking very well, approximately very well, 2.75 or so. If I go to reverse, press the brake pedal, go to reverse, the guide pressure is 4.6 and the other is 3.75, which is nearly a bar difference, 3.45. And it fluctuates quite substantial, 3.5, that's 1.1 bar difference. Neutral is tracking very well, it's the same thing, 2.7, 2.8. Then drive is the guide pressure is 3.1 and it's not too bad, 2.75, 2.7, 2.6 is still half a bar difference. Neutral again, 2.7, 2.7 roughly, and then reverse it's 4.6 and this is 3.4, so almost 1.2 bars difference, 3.4, 3.8, 3.6, 3.5. That's quite substantially low, and it fluctuates quite substantially actually between 3.45 and 4.75, like a quite some difference. And that's when the temperature is cold, 26 degrees. It will track a little bit better when it's warm, but that's a substantial difference there. And now at 58 degrees, nearly there, another 5 degrees, probably I'll leave it at 63. So this is neutral, this is in park, and it tracks well, 2.7, 2.65. going to reverse, it should be 4.6, and it also tracks very well 4.4, 4.5, 4.45, so that's 0.2 bars, not really that much of a difference. Neutral, it always good, 2.7, 2.7, and then in drive, the guide pressure should be 3.1. This is 2.9, actually also quite well. Neutral again, 2.6, reverse, 4.6, 4.45. It's fluctuating a little bit, but it's tracking very well. And then in park, and I'll wait till hit 63 degrees, switch off the car, and undo the drain plug. I mean, the fan hasn't kicked in yet. You can't quite see it. It's about, let me switch on the lights, but it's about just under 90 degrees, so it hasn't hit it yet. So 62, one more degree, and I can switch off the car now. Car has been switched off, and now drain the plug. Be careful, that's quite hot. Have my 8mm square. And I have a precaution gloves and so on. And do that one. And because it's quite level, not that much is coming out, wait until that stops dripping and undo the insert, the leveler plug, or the level plug. But I can kind of start undoing it now. There we go. Oh, the oil will drip. There you go. I'm thinking now you can almost do it by hand. Actually, you can do it by hand. Careful not to drop it. It doesn't so much matter. You fish it out later. It's just easier. There we go. The plug and draining the main oil. The insert, the leveler, is quite clear, but I already replaced 3 liters of gearbox oil, and I'll leave that to drain.